We got Mitul here, right here, after the game between Arsenal and Wolves, ended 2-1 in favour of Arsenal. But are you convinced about the performance of the lads today?
Yeah, it was a good performance, especially in the we had an early start to the game, similar to like the Lons game where we scored two goals in a couple of in quick succession, and it's a bit similar to the Lons game where the goals were coming thick and fast. But of course, we had to scrap away, and it was a scrappy end to the game, which we shouldn't have done, conceding quite late, which set up a nervy end to the game. And we knew that if any mistake you make towards in the final third in our half against Wolves, they will punish us, and they did so after a sloppy mistake from Zinchenko.
Of course, let's get your player rating in this particular game from the goalkeeper to the striker today.
Goalkeeper David Raya. David Raya didn't have much to do in the game, but of course we know now why Arteta has preferred him over Ramsdale because of his distribution and playing from the back, which suits him perfectly. He hadn't really had much to do. He made already an important save early in the second half. But I feel he could have done a little bit more for the Onoa's goal that Wolves have scored, so I think he could have done better. So I'd give him a 7. Tomiyasu, I feel he had a really good game today. Defensively on point. I had no concerns of his defensive discipline. And now we can see that he can still have the license to go forward and link up with Bukayo Saka. But I do feel Ben White is more of a preferred player in that role because I think he has a good bond with Bukayo Saka on that right back in right back and wingers kind of link up plays a bit more better than Tomiyasu. But Tomiyasu hasn't put a foot wrong at all, so defensively he was on point. So I'll give him an 8. And then to the defensive pairing of William Saliba and Gabriel. Saliba, solid of course. He's a Rolls Royce of a defender. Another stellar performance. He got his first booking today, which is a real shame. But it shouldn't knock his confidence as we move on to our next game against Luton. Gabriel, a complete warrior today, winning most of the duels in the game, and he was solid throughout as well. And they both have now strengthened as a solid pair in terms of the two centre-back pairing. Zinchenko at left-back. Zinchenko was really good offensively and playing in that kind of inverted midfield position, which I feel that's where his preferred position should be rather than left-back. He did really well to link up play with Gabriel Jesus to the build-up to Martin Odegaard's second goal. But of course, defensively, that's not his really strongest point, going from the back and really defend for the team. And he did cost us by making that defensive sloppy pass that gifted Wolves a consolation goal in the end, which ended up being a nervy game to the end. So I'll give Zinchenko a 6, just because, give him a high 6 because of the contributions he did early in the first half, playing in that inverted role, as well as contributing Martin Odegaard's Martin Odegaard's goal. That helped us score our second goal in the game in the space of 13 minutes. So yeah, apart from that, in terms of defensive playing, there were times as well that he almost lost to some of the duels as well, defensively as well. So he could have gifted Wolves a few opportunities. So that's why I give Zinchenko a 6. Declan Rice, I feel he had a really good performance. He hadn't done really much, but his interception and duels, he won it perfectly as well, and he's the orchestra into Arsenal's midfield. So I'll give him a 7. Going now to Leandro Trossard. Leandro Trossard didn't really have a great game for me today, personally, in my view. There were times where he won a few duels and regained possession, of course, but there were chances where I feel he could have scored a few goals under his belt today. But would have preferred Kai Havertz to have started in that position today. But I understand why Arteta's made for that decision today, just because of the rotation of the squad. Because we are a big squad, games are coming thick and fast. We've got Luton away, Villa away. You might want to look to consider Kai Havertz for those games as well. So I understand why he might have preferred to have rested a few players. But of course, I don't think this is the kind of game I feel Trossard should have played, but maybe he could have played on the left instead of Martinelli. Maybe that would have been his preferred position, but not more much in that kind of false 8 role. But I would have preferred him to play in that kind of left or false 9 role today. I would have preferred him to play that, but not in that kind of 8 role, which I would have preferred Havertz. So I'll give Trossard a 5. Okay. Then looking to Martin Odegaard, I think that was one of his best games this season. We saw a reminiscence of his performances last season, where he was performing at his very best, at his prime. So Martin Odegaard was absolutely brilliant today. He was in the orchestra of Arsenal's attacking play. He was everywhere on the pitch as well, and there were chances where he made some good assists today, which didn't end up being a goal, like with Nketiah's goal, for example. where he should have had a chance to score a goal after Wolves pulled a goal back. He did a really nice assist, which was a kind of a majestic pass to Nketiah. And Nketiah, all he had to do is just really tuck it into the net. But he ended up hitting the frame of the woodwork. He just hit into the top end of the crossbar. So, yes, I mean, it would have been a bit more better for him to have an assist into the game. But I felt Odegaard was one of the best performers today, and he's irreplaceable in this Arsenal team.
What about Saka and Gabriel Jesus?
Saka on the right, he was brilliant today as well. So yeah, just before I give my rating, so Odegaard I have to give a 9 today. With Bukayo Saka, I felt he really did really good with the link-up play once again, and he just saw out the game perfectly well. He showed his experience today, which was really nice as well, and he got a goal which is richly deserved as well. Being in the right place at the right time. Of course, there was a bit of a ricochet at the back, but he got his reward in the end, and I think he was absolutely brilliant today. There's not really much to say about Bukayo Saka other than he gives his 100% at all times. So I'll give him an 8. Looking into Martinelli. Martinelli, for me, had a good performance, of course, as always, winning his defensive duties. And there were times where he had to cover for Zinchenko when he missed out on a few interceptions and that could have led to a Wolves goal. But Martinelli was there to cover up for Zinchenko, so I'd give him a 7. But he hadn't done really anything spectacular, but he done his duties today. And obviously that helped us to win the game.
Before Gabriel Jesus, are you a bit worried that Mikel Arteta got to actually pull him very early in the game?
Say that question again, sorry, mate?
Looking at Gabriel Jesus, we know he was subbed at about 65 minutes, thereabout. Are you confident in that, or is it a good move from the manager to actually bring him out to actually ensure that he gets enough rest?
Yeah, of course. I mean, Gabriel Jesus is one of our important players in this Arsenal team. He offers so much. And what I want to say about Gabriel Jesus' performance as well, that yes, he might not be like a proven goal scorer as a striker that can score week in and week out. When you've seen players of the players of previous calibers in the Premier League, like Harry Kane, for example, Alan Shearer, Thierry Henry, he's a different type of striker, and Arsenal fans have to respect that. But he offers so much of his work rate, his link-up play, and what I love about his play as well, he's got an understanding of Trossard, and same with Havertz. When he's not in that false 9 role, when he's not in the edge of the box. When he pushes a bit away, he puts Trossard in there. That's where Havertz goes in there. That's where they will find pockets of space. So that's where Havertz and Trossard play in that kind of inverted false 9 position when Jesus is a little bit further up in the field. So that's what I think he's really good at. Something that's maybe we have to look into future games and moving forward as well about Arteta's evolution in terms of his tactics, like he did with Zinchenko playing in that kind of inverted left-back position. Yeah. But in terms of your question about substitutions, I feel is a good timing as well. Of course, we were 2-0 up and we was kind of in pole position. I feel it may be a good opportunity to actually take him off because of the games that we have coming up as well, where games are going to be with more huge physicality, like Luton away. Let's not take them lightly as well. They managed to pull off a draw against Liverpool recently, not so long ago. So we have to not underestimate teams when you go from away from home, and I think that's where Gabriel Jesus, I think, will be at his best. Yeah. And we have to rotate the team all the way along because games are coming thick and fast, as I mentioned, coming towards the festive period. So we need to get maximum points before we face Liverpool at Anfield towards the later this month. Yeah.
Are you certain that Arsenal will remain on top of the table at the end of December?
Hopefully. Hopefully we should be top by the end of December. That'd be a really good position. We were top this time last year, if you guys remember as well. We were like 4 or 5 points clear, but of course we didn't win the league in the end. But I do feel it will be key how well we do towards March and to May period of time. I think that's where it really counts. I don't really count the festive period anymore, given how we performed last season, because we played with full of energy and tenacity. Right now, where you can see these kind of performances is like once we put our foot into the gas, and when we put our foot into the gas, we scored 2 goals, and then we can sit back a little bit, maintain the tempo of the game, and just see out the victory, which we did. But I do feel we could have scored a few more in different patches of the game, and there was no need for me to concede a late goal as well into the closing stages, and I felt that we didn't need to do that. It was just down to our sloppy mistakes with Zinchenko. So if it wasn't that to happen, it would have been just a comfortable win. But we just put ourselves in that position to set up a nervy end to the game, which of course we saw a victory. But I do feel it'd be a good position to be at top of Christmas. But we still got a lot to play for. We're a long season. Like, we're in a completely different position now. We're playing Champions League footballs now as well. We're going to be competing for that competition too as well. So it's all part and parcel.
Thank you so much, bro.
No worries.